Hey guys, and welcome back to the Pilot Factored. So as we now explore the fitness component of the performance pyramid, there's a few things that we're going to look at. Obviously, this course isn't meant to be a sort of a training program or anything like that, just to give you the basics of what you're looking for, really. Um, yeah, so we'll go from there. We'll talk about intensity versus quantity. We'll answer questions about, well, what does it mean to be overweight versus obese? And then give you a few tips and tricks about, staying active on the road. So let's get going. Okay, first of all, fitness is a discipline and it takes discipline. And when I talk about fitness, it doesn't only mean working out, but it means having a fit body, a healthy body. So discipline, for example, will take consistency. Consistency means every day make an effort to go out there and get at it. Even a nice little brisk walk after a long day of flying will help combat the wear and tear on your body is experiencing after a long day of flying. Um, Sleep will be your best weapon, honestly, against most things. Sitting for long periods of time lead to negative side effects like bloating, swelling, physical and mental fatigue. So you want to really kind of work the kinks out of your body there, whether by, like we said, walking or working out. Things like that will help your body move and exercise these things out. So regular physical exercise improves tolerance to environmental stressors that we experience in flying and the decreased duration of post-flight recovery. So that means the fitter you are, let's say that you have a good cardio, well, these long flights at high altitude and stuff like this will affect you less. You'll be able to recover better. And same with other side effects that we talked about. The CDC, or the Center for Disease Control in the US, recommends one of the following. Moderate intensity, which is a 1 hour or 1 hour 3 times weekly, or the equivalent of 15 minutes a day of exercise. Or vigorous intensity, which is 1 hour 2 times weekly, or 75 minutes a week. So as you see, you can go like moderately over longer periods of time or more intense over shorter periods of time, depending on what your schedule allows you to. This changes the target heart rate depending on what you're doing. So between 50 to 70% of your maximum heart rate or 70 to 85% of your maximum heart rate. For example, a 35-year-old person like me, the estimated maximum age-related heart rate would be calculated as 220, which this is a constant, minus your years, so 35 years, is 185 beats per minute. That is the maximum. You try to figure out your 70% level, that comes up to 130, and your 85% level comes up to 157. Going higher than that is there's no benefit, um, and it gets dangerous, so be careful. So yeah, one great tool for figuring these things out is having a heart, for example, a watch that will monitor your heart rate and give you an instant reading, an ECG. That's pretty helpful. There are a few targets that we want to keep in mind prior to flight. Try to wake up your muscles in order to avoid like muscular tension while you're on board. That means stretching and doing things like that. Um, there's going to be muscles that focus on piloting performance. So here we're talking about cervical muscles, back, abdominal, and thigh muscles. As you're sitting a lot, these will be the ones sort of like stabilizing you and also helping in the work that you do. General fitness is all types of endurance activities will also help for the flight. Cycling, swimming, jogging, tennis, these are all things that will keep you just fit in general, burn some calories, but also keep you moving in a very holistic way. That's why I like cycling, for example. It's very easy on the body, but it still works out. Swimming is the same. Jogging is a bit more is a bit more tedious, I would say, for some. But again, it's still a great exercise. After the flight, don't forget stretching exercises can be very beneficial. Um, it is, though, best to wait about 2 hours after landing before, engaging in endurance types of exercises for relaxation or fitness, because your muscles are probably atrophied a little, they're probably sleepy a little, so you can stretch them out, but wait a little bit before you go all out and work out. So, like I said, we would talk about weight, overweight, underweight. What's a healthy weight, for example. The scale tells us numbers. Obviously, it's not all there is there, but we'll go with what we have. So measuring body mass index is the simple measurement. It gets more complicated than that, but for this, we'll keep it at just BMI. Body mass index is a simple but it's effective way to screen your weight category. Um, so for me, I know my weight in pounds and my height in inches. I would use that formula, for example. But if you're more comfortable with kilos and meters, you can use the metric one. Um, you are underweight if your BMI is less than 18.5. You will be normal weight between 18.5 to 24.5, and so on and so forth. There's a chart right there. So if you need to pause it right now, do the little bit of math that it takes, figure this out. It gives you just a ballpark, honestly, just ballpark, because there'll be, as always, there'll be exceptions to the rule that we need to be aware of. Medical disorders from obesity include, but are not limited to, sleep apnea, high blood pressure requiring medication, diabetes, heart disease, and so on. So really, it's not something that you want to be experiencing. And we have all the tools that we need to offset obesity in our lives. All right, so one big thing to remember is that fitness is an ongoing process. It's not just something that, we can do a little bit now, not so much later. It's sort of, call it a way of life, maybe. Um, but, when you're on the road, it's really tempting to get in a hotel, check in, turn on the TV, and check out, basically, of life. But your body doesn't check out. It's still there. It needs blood flow. And if the idea of going to the gym seems dreadful, remember that there is other options than just, going back on the treadmill or going to the gym. There's a lot of other ways that we can keep our body healthy. Um, so for me, I love to just explore, walk around, discover different things. If you're still into the group thing, and you don't like being alone, there's applications now like ClassPass where you can try out different classes or drop in at a gym for the day instead of the hotel gym, for example. YouTube has been a big go-to for me. There's been places where there has been no gyms inside or outside the hotel, and I've had to rely on good old YouTube for workout videos in my hotel room, and that still works. You can go out and rent things like bikes now and scooters and just explore where you are, which is awesome. Sightseeing, believe me or not, is an amazing way to get your steps count in. I've walked miles and miles and miles and miles just looking around the town and a new city. And just going for a brisk, like half-hour walk is huge health benefits. And finally, nature, like going outdoors and enjoying, hiking again. You can find trails. There's applications like All Trails that give you access to hikes and walking trails around the world. So don't sell yourself short. Remember that there is plenty of options out there for you. Now, we talked about moving about when we're outside the cockpit, in a hotel or at home. But what about like when we can't leave the cockpit? If you're stuck in there for hours on end, there are things that you can do. Pump your ankles, activate your leg muscles, for example, get the blood flowing through there. Neck circles will relieve a little bit of that kinks and soreness of sitting upright for a long time or slouching even. Arm stretches across the body and overhead release the tension in your upper shoulders. That helps a lot. Knees up, obviously you're gonna have to get up and go in the galley or in at least somewhere else, but um, this will help really stretch your legs a little, so that's pretty good. Wrist circles, pretty easy. Um, you can keep moving about in the cabin, again, if you're able to get out of your seat, walk in place, do standing squats, wall squats, lunge in place, arm circles, and don't be afraid of like, what they're gonna think. Typically, if it's a long enough flight, your plane is big enough, there's gonna be a galley door. So you're gonna have some privacy in doing those things. You won't be bothering anybody, and it will really help you. Wall push-ups, knee to chest, stretch your arms across the body, overhead, behind again. Just, stretch that spine and give it room to be happy. Um, as we say, the CDC recommends 2 or more days of muscle strengthening activities that would work all major muscle groups. Um, so as we talked about, there's recommendations, and really, guys, if there's a will, there's a way. There's no reason to abandon working out because you have a small suitcase, because you're in a hotel, because you're on the road. So many things you can do, so many things you can bring with you that will change even your hotel room into a good muscle building, calorie burning studio. Okay, so TRX is a very popular one and will work in most hotel rooms. You can it's resistance bands that you can basically jam in your bathroom door and stuff like that. Body weights, there's tons of body weight programs out there that will wreck you in a good way. Um, but I mean that are very challenging and great workouts. Bring yoga mat, again, that's very small if you can find a nice one, very light, and work on stretching and keeping the blood flowing. Exercise bands don't take any room, but you can do great workouts with them. Exercise ball, don't bring it inflated, obviously, but deflated will take no room. And if you have a little pump or something that you can use, get it right back inflated and get on to those exercises. So, as always, this was an overview. By no mean it is, a rigorous training program or anything like that. I just want to give you guys an idea of what it is that you can do, of the possibilities that are out there, because sometimes we just don't think of these things. So, dig in, look into all the options that you have. And if you're on the road, when you're on the road, or even at home, but chapter is mostly about, staying fit on the road, know that there's always a way that you can just keep moving in one way or the other, and be flexible. Okay, if one day you're like, "Ah, I didn't bring exercise stuff, there's no gym at the hotel," well, a nice hike is still excellent. Walking around town, still excellent. And that'll still be better than nothing. So, don't get stuck on details. Don't get stuck on, well, my gym routine. No, 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 no. Just go with the flow, enjoy where you are, and make the most of it. And remember, guys, healthy mind, healthy body, and it goes the other way around. Healthy body, healthy mind. All right, as always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I will be leaving review questions in the description of this video, and looking forward to seeing you guys for the next one.